Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. So as I said last week, today we're going to look at moving in stance with the kicks. At first, when we start, we practice our kicks from the yoi, ready position, in place, balance, standing, kick, as I taught previously, and then the yokogeri keage, the side snap kick. So those are the two kicks for the yellow belt requirement from white belt. After we've learned to do them standing in place, next thing we want to do is put them into our stances. So typically, what I will do is teach them from the front stance for the kicking motion. Okay? So we'll start from our zenkutsu dachi gambarai position, and from here, we'll simply throw the kick from the back leg, standing in place, and then do the same thing, switching sides, throw the kick from the back leg. And the emphasis here is still on balance and centering, but returning to the front stance position prior to putting it into movement. So from the side, same thing. If I'm facing this way, I'm in my front stance, my elbows are in the hikite or pulled in position. Again, nothing practical about this other than to teach my body to balance and make sure that I'm doing the 4 steps of the kick, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of each kick. Okay, so we'll do that in our front stance, returning to the same front stance, trying to make sure we accommodate our body into that position. From there, we put the kicks into movement. Now, as mentioned with the punching, starting zenkutsu dachi gambarai, same thing, we're going to step and kick. And as I mentioned, Tamai last week typically will lift his foot rather than sliding it the way we usually teach. This actually comes in handy when we go to kick, because I'm going to bring my foot up into this position, kick, maintain my balance, and step into my front stance. Now at the beginner level, a lot of times what I see is the kick and you'll fall forward, and now I end up not in a really good position. My front stance is not front. I'm actually turned sideways, my body's offline because I've allowed my kick to fall, which is why we practice it first from the standing position to be able to kick, maintain balance, and return to where we are. When we put this into motion, zenkutsu dachi gambarai, prep, hai, elbows in, hikite. Now when I kick, it's important that I return with my knees still up and then intentionally step into my new stance. Not fall there, but step there off of the balanced leg. Okay? Now, the other thing when we're kicking is I typically at this level don't lift the leg and kick and step backwards. Yes, that's good for practice and can be done. But let's talk real quick about practicality of that. In a self-defense scenario, somebody rushing up at me, one of the worst things I can do is lift the leg and fall back. I'm just going to get run over. You'll never see that. If I do lift my front leg defensively to kick, I intend to kick and land forward and stop him there. So I don't typically teach kicking moving backwards. Okay? We may kick off the lead leg, definitely, but I'm not going to teach it with my body falling backwards. So when we get to the end of our forward movement with the kicks, and I want to go the other way, we turn. This is called mawate. Mawate just means turn around. Okay? We do that in Shorin-ryu-based systems. We do it differently than in Naha-based systems. In Naha systems, the front foot steps across and we turn. And you'll see that in some of the Naha kata. Typically, that's the way we step. In Shorin-based systems, I'm imagining someone is behind me. I don't want to turn right into their power. Okay, so I'll do it from this way. If you're behind me and I just turn, I'm right there, you're in my face. So as we turn, what we're going to do is use the rear foot, pull it toward the front foot, face the new direction, step and block in that new direction. Now I'm going back into whoever my opponent behind me may or may not have been. So the way of turning in Shorin-based systems, as opposed to Naha-based systems, such as Goju-ryu, Uechi-ryu, and some others. It sort of distinguishes the style. So we would, from here, we would perform Mawate, the turning, with a low block in my new direction, and then from there we would continue and kick going backwards, okay? Second kick is a little tougher, and again requires the balance. So I'm going to do a full quarter turn to the side. My standing foot, I don't move it first. I use my hips, turn to the side. Now my foot is pointing this way that I'm standing on. We perform the Yokogeri Keage. From here, I have to turn again to step into a good front stance. As I said with the front kick, same thing tends to happen here, is they'll kick and fall forward, and now I'm not in a good fighting position. I want to have my weapons forward, okay, where both arms can reach and I can move in that direction. Where if I fall here, I'm off balance, now I can't do much, all right? So, Yokogeri Keage, a little tougher, hands held for balance, use the hips, not the foot to turn. The foot does turn as a result of my center, side blade kick, step into your forward stance. Same thing, step to your forward stance. Going in this direction, from here, I would do my prep as always. Side blade kick, step, side blade kick, and step. Okay? Always landing in my good zenkutsu dachi or front stance position. So this is the kicking and stepping method for the yellow belt requirements from front stance, front kick moving forward, maintaining all 4 steps of the kick, side blade kick moving forward, maintaining all 4 steps of the kick, always landing in my good stance, using balance and posture. Mawate turn, and then proceed down the other direction. Kicking using front stance for the yellow belt. Next week we'll look at square stance or shikodachi with blocks and talk about why we use that stance for blocks as opposed to front stance. Until next week, thanks for joining again. Again, subscribe, click the bell, ask questions, make comments, share it, trying to broaden the scope of my reach for karate students, and share with other Seidokan who are practitioners of this art, that we can sort of come to some unity in our technical aspects. Thank you again, and until next week, keep practicing.